Hey, boys and girls. And Scott. Hi, Scott.
Hello. I keep wanting to copy R and Ra and go, hello, puppies and kittens. But I guess I better come up with my own catchphrase or my own greeting or whatever.
Buffaloes and bunnies.
Buffaloes and bunnies? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I want to point out, Cell. It's I'm going to call you Cell. God damn it. Scott's new avatar.
That's all right. That's all right.
I got Cell on the brain. Smell Cell. Scott's new avatar. Do you want to explain this?
The avatar? Yeah, it's a picture of a fat, fuzzy guy in sunglasses playing a trumpet.
Blues Brothers.
Yeah, it's kind of a Blues Brothers thing, although, Blues Brothers actually had white shirts, button-up shirts with a black tie and, black suit on. So, and I have actually dressed up as blue. I guess I would be Elwood Blues, or is it Jake? I don't know which the John Belushi one was, but I've actually dressed up like that one before for a dance routine.
I haven't that much of them that I would know, or I haven't watched them for a long time. Those guys were great. It's kind of amazing that they took a comedy routine and did concerts.
Yeah, I was very skeptical that they would be any good, but boy, was I wrong.
Yep.
But no, I've decided in a life. I basically hinted at this. I said I made a life-changing decision the other day and then nobody asked about it. But since you asked, I decided to take up playing the trumpet again. It's been since really high school. Used to love it. Used to love being in the jazz band in high school, concert band, whatever. Of course, I tolerated marching, but I don't know why they make you march, other than the fact that they need people to fill the ranks or whatever. But I decided to build my chops up and play the trumpet again, just for the love of the music.
Yep. They make you march so that you can publicly appear in parades, I think, and to make parades better, they need the high school band, right?
Yeah, but they didn't start coming up with really cool band uniforms until I was pretty much out of high school.
Really?
Or I just was not around school districts that had the really cool uniforms. Ours was just like a toy soldier kind of uniform,
They had them when I was a kid. So our high school band used to have to march because the band leader was an alcoholic, and they had to march down to the Legion, the local bar, to go and get him, and then he would lead them back to the school.
There were all sorts of rumors, shall we say, that our band leader in junior high was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
But he found religion later, and in fact, I think he was part of one of the organizing groups of the Billy Graham crusade that came to our town in Little Rock way back in the 80s.
Left Minneapolis and came to your town. So Billy Graham had a big thing here, like a big institution.
Yeah.
And then I think they turned it into an insurance company or something at some point, and like it was all part of the same. It was like a religious insurance company. I don't know.
Oh, that smells like a scam.
It kind of does. So anyway, on to the topic here. So first of all, in the comments of the video, and it's linked in the description, part 2 of Arn Ra's emails, Darwinism as Religion, Failure of Darwinism, and Neo-Darwinism. which is Cell being really stupid and picking on a theory that is either 180 years old or the one that, was like from 50 years ago, and misunderstanding everything about the modern synthesis and even this bullshit that they call the third way and what the intent is. And it's just him cherry picking, misunderstanding, and putting together a narrative for his flock so that they can all sit there and go and laugh at evolution and laugh at, real science. So, but anyway, creation.
I've labeled him a disinformation distributor, and he obviously does that. But I was thinking the motivation was just to, keep the flock of YECers coming to him rather than Googling search terms that will pull up actual scientific articles and things. But it could be too that his answer to our challenge to come up with your own theory of how it happened and submit it and then get it peer reviewed might be to try to adopt old, worn out, thrown away theories.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
I thought you called him something else. Was it a disinformation?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did call him something else.
But I wrote it down in my diary.
Remember, you're not supposed to attribute it to me.
Oh, somebody else said, all Cell is a disinformation whore. I don't know who said that. Who said that?
I have no idea.
I have no idea who said that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I can't say.
Okay. So Dr. Dan, in the comments of this video, says something about halfway through. Cell, I think you'd be more effective if you dealt with Evo theory as it exists today instead of relitigating debates that have been settled for decades. And that's kind of the whole thing, right? Oh, and I don't know. Let's see this thing on. There's also, God, you can't read that, right? Shit. God damn. How can I make that readable? This is Grinch Lynchpin again, and that's the guy that Cell's got a couple of videos for.
Well, gosh, does he have an email? Maybe you can email him and ask him to write bigger.
Yeah. Damn.
Now, Windows has a magnifier.
Yeah.
Windows 11 does, that where you can just turn it on.
Windows, I'm not going to do Windows. Okay, so minus. I got to go minus. Oh, shit. So that fits on there. So you can't really read that, eh?
I can't. I'm not even going to try. Now, you can just put your window up and then make it fill the space. Maybe that'll work.
Yeah. Anyway, so he was talking about Protein Orchard. And so Grinch Lynchpin in the comments to one of the Protein Orchard videos that he Cell did for this guy says, overall, Cell, it seems that you are conflating and confusing many separate hypotheses and lines of reasoning. Imagine that there are these phases of the transition from geo to life. That would be like from, rocks to life. We can outline them as geo, the geological earth or the geosphere, geobio, where, the early things started to be formed, the early biochemicals started forming, nucleic acids and all that. Prebiotic cellularization, biotic cells, eukaryotic cells, multicellular life, and organismal life. You must choose a spot here and stick with that. No one is saying that you think there was one cell with one ancestral protein. It is very clear that no one believes that. Now, on Protein Orchards, that would be a discussion for geobio. So it happened a long time ago, is what he's saying. And prebiotic cellularization. So it would be like 3.5 billion years ago. At that point, the massive number of protein families is in place. Now, it is not an orchard, but rather a network. In early prokaryotes, there was splitting and asymmetrical splitting. budding and ingestion, horizontal gene transfer, and viruses. However, what you really focus on is the complexity of extant life in molecules. That is that latter organismal and late prokaryotic evolution phase of life. You conflate the extant with the ancient. I can see how you are thinking about all of this, and it is just plain wrong. Now, I can grant you the creation of single-cell eukaryotes by divine intervention 700 million years ago. Do you have a problem with the theory from that point to the present? And then there was one other quote from him that was, to be clear, you talk about protein orchards, and then you go 3 billion years forward and make an argument about extant cell complexity. This makes no sense. The one has nothing to do with the other. Ha. Ha ha ha. I like that. Anyway. So, yep. And on to the video. Okay, we're going to go through a video here, and it's going to take a long time, but we're going to have to listen.
On we go.
On we go. Let me know if you can't hear it for some reason or whatever.
Oh, we have Mark Reed in the side chat. Mark Reed, it's great to see you.
Oh my God. Who's? Wait.
Greetings. I had a little problem getting the buttons in line. There's a World Series behind me. Not much point in watching it. The Phillies are ahead 7-0 against the Houston Astros.
We don't care.
And it's.
What do I care about that? What
I'm an independent molecular biophysics researcher. I work for world famous.
Oh, let me slow him down just a little, but I'm going to keep him a little faster because he's fucking slow. Okay.
Molecular. Not molecular. Genetic engineer, famous research scientist, famous genetic engineer.
Okay, here's Sal blowing his horn. We don't have to listen to that. So he works for this famous guy that invented a gene gun, a long time ago, Sanford. So who cares?
Is that still a big deal? I mean, is the gene gun sort of the equivalent to the telegraph or the telephone?
No, I think they've moved on quite a bit. But Sanford, I think, made a lot of money with his invention. But he was a genetic engineer. He was like an engineer. And the guy doesn't know shit about genetics today, I don't think. So we can just discount him. He's a poser.
He's irrelevant. He's irrelevant now.
He's irrelevant, completely irrelevant. Okay, so let's see. This is Arn Ra's email.
There is no such thing. There's no such thing as evolutionism, and it isn't Darwinism either. You don't even know what Darwinism is. Okay.
Okay, so Arn Ra is basically saying that this bullshit where people use the words Darwinism and evolutionism, though you will find them in some books and some papers, for the most part, nobody uses those words except creationists. I mean, they have popularized those words in the last 20 years more than anyone else has. Because I don't remember, like, when I studied evolution 20 years ago, I don't remember running into the words evolutionism or even seeing any mention of Darwin, basically. When you study genetics, they don't sit around and talk about Darwinism. It's like they'll talk about natural selection and they'll talk about neutral, evolution and a number of other, different mechanisms, but they won't mention that. But anyway,
from my biology days, and I truly took it as a non-science student, just as a science requirement. And Darwinism was just not a key word in our vocabulary. He briefly talked about Darwin and what Darwin's theory was in the light of evolutionary theory. But no, Darwinism, and there's no ism. We didn't talk about isms. We just talked about what scientists had discovered.
Yeah. So he goes on for quite a bit about, trying to make fun of Arn Ra because he said, oh my God, it's used everywhere. And I sent you a book by Michael Roos and it's in that book. And we're so excited that it's in that book because it says Darwinism. Let's see, what's the name of the Roos book? Hold on a minute. Where are we? Michael Roos, Darwinism as Religion. Okay. And so he makes a big thing of this book. which is kind of ridiculous. And here's the book right there. That's the, oh, wait a minute. You can't see the book. Why can't you
Who's
see
the? Well, I saw the book for a second. Who's the author?
Michael Roos. He's a philosopher of biology, I believe, is what he does.
Darwinism as religion.
Yeah. Anyway, so what is this book about?
Yeah,
So
I wonder what like. How does it qualify as a religion?
Well, here's the thing about the book. Okay, I am very much not saying that this is all there is to be said about evolutionary thinking. An important part of my story that is that today there is a professional science of Darwin indebted evolutionary studies that is in no sense a religion. Sel didn't read that part. And then the other part where he says, now I want to do this one more time from what is for me a totally new perspective. Evolution, including Darwin, as seen through the lens of literature, fiction, and poetry. And what he's talking about is history. He's talking about what happened in the 19th century and how Darwinism influenced the culture and thinking. And that's the point of the whole book. So, but Sel, of course, misrepresents it as being about current evolutionary thinking, right? No, it's a book about poetry. What does he say again? Literature, fiction, and poetry. That's what it is about. So,
But those are all incidental to religion.
yeah.
Well, and you can have all those things without having a religion.
Yeah, and it's not a religion because nobody sits around and practices Darwinism.
Right. It's just to me that's just a totally ridiculous premise. Maybe the title was meant for marketing more than for actually making a point that's valid.
Whether your dumb assertions make any sense. There is also Darwinism as religion. I mean, he said there's no such thing as Darwinism.
I found a book with a title. I mean, oh my God, it's right there. It's in the title. It's like, come on, dude. He gets way too excited about this shit.
Right after I gave him this book, published in Oxford University Press, Darwinism as Religion.
Oh, a secular publishing.
I mean, how dumb can you be? Right after I provided a reference to him.
On and on and on he goes. And he goes on for 4 or 5 minutes about it.
I provided the book.
Aaron Ra cannot be characterized as dumb, even if you disagree with him.
Yeah. He's going on again.
Oxford University Press. It's by a respected philosopher of biology. It tells you, it uses the word Darwinism and evolutionism, and you say it's not really a thing. You know,
the problem is when an idiot reads a respected philosopher of biology, the idiot frequently misses the point of the entire fucking book.
And you know, even respected philosophers can write shitty books.
Yeah.
I know, like even in a different realm, the realm of biblical studies, Bart Ehrman has put out a real stinky book on the resurrection, and Richard Carrier pointed all that out in a blog article. He was very, very rude about it, but still, he just points out places where Bart Ehrman just didn't seem to do all the heavy lifting that he does for most other books, and that can happen too. And Darwinism, using Darwinism as religion in the title, just smacks of marketing more than scholarship.
Yeah, it was a catchy title, and I'm sure it sold a lot of books, basically. Yeah, religion is bad, except okay. Yeah, that's the thing that fucking kills me. Like, why are they calling it a religion? Is religion so bad? It's like, I don't know. And like a religion. So, okay, fine. Basically, this whole thing with naturalism being a religion or a religious belief, I would like to address that just a little bit because, and I'm not sure exactly where I have addressed that. I wrote something and oh my goodness, am I ever going to be able to find it? Anyway, naturalism is how we all live. I mean, it's not metaphysics and it's not a religion. It's how everybody lives their life. It's how a biological child organism develops from the time they are born. They learn the natural laws of things around them. They learn how objects, if you put one in front of another, you can't see through it, right? One thing's hiding behind another. Things are hiding in boxes. They understand all of that. And that's naturalism. And that's what everyone in the world lives by. Every single creationist adheres to naturalism in every day of his life. It's how he gets to church. He gets in a real car, turns the starter. He does not sit there in the morning in bed and pray, "Oh, Jesus, bring me to church." He doesn't do that. He gets out of bed, puts on his clothes, has a cup of coffee, gets in the car, and fucking drives to church with purely natural causes all the way, right? Is that
so? You don't think it's like a statistical miracle that he can put his clothes on by himself?
Well, yeah, okay, there's that, but yeah, it is amazing that they can actually get out of bed in the morning.
Boy, that was really mean of me. Wow. Java 1, if you thought I was too mean, type it in the side chat. If I wasn't mean enough, type it 2. I'm feeling kind of guilty now for being kind of mean.
Oh, please do not. This is all about cell bashing. This is still brain Cordova bashing day. So naturalism is not a religion, not even a philosophy. It is how we live as biological organisms. The only time we invoke gods or spirits is for things like cancer that we can't control, with the hope that we can control them by begging for help. So, I mean, that's it. It's ridiculous. So what just happened to our screen cell? Or I called you Cell. I'm sorry, Scott.
Maybe that should be my jazz name.
Cell. Yeah.
Sal, just Sal Duke.
Okay. Anyway. Let's see. So where was I?
Defeated. You just need someone like me to come along and put you in your place.
Oh yeah.
He says right there, look, see Aaron's.
It takes somebody like Cell to come along and put Aaron Ra in his place. That's why I highlighted that one. And where am I at? I'm at 1459.
Has he said Aaron correctly yet?
I think a couple times he did, but I think he reverts a few times. So I don't know.
You think you look so big and bad being a Satanist? It's kind of funny. You're going to be kind of just put in your place by a creationist.
So he really thinks he just, really, really delivered that well. He showed all the places where they used Darwinism and evolutionism, and it's like, bullshit. So there isn't too much there. Let's see. But you notice how how did he say that?
You think you look so big and bad being a Satanist? It's kind of funny.
Cell is afraid.
You look so big and bad.
Right. Cell is afraid of Aaron Ra because of its imposing appearance.
Yeah, the distance from Texas to Virginia really emboldens him, as well as the fact that Aaron probably doesn't watch his channel very often.
Yeah. And here we have a paper offering the formal Darwinism project in outline. And basically, as much as I've been able to find about the formal Darwinism project is an idea about strict mathematical treatment of natural selection, I think. And he found this paper. What he did is he Googled Darwinism and came up with a paper by Ellen Graffin. The formal Darwinism project aims to provide a mathematical framework within which important fundamental ideas in large parts of biology can be articulated, including Darwin's central argument in The Origin, that mechanical processes of inheritance and reproduction can give rise to the appearance of design. So let's see what.
So now, why did I know of this? We were writing a paper that was going to be critical of this. we're going to be writing a paper that's critical of these ideas. I think we successfully refuted it, not by anything we said. All we had to do is quote other evolutionists.
All we had to do is quote people. He admits it. All we had to do is cherry pick quotes. That's all we had to do in our paper. That's in that naturalism, that book he wrote, the $1,400 thing that, you know, they somehow got published in. Dr. Dan covered that article, that paper they did very well. I wish I had a link to the video, but it's
I don't remember that. I'm going to have to go back and find it. Yeah.
Dr. Dan just tore that to pieces. I mean, just ripped it apart. It was amazing. So
I figured it was rippable if somebody took the time to go look it up in the library and critique it.
I thought this was amusing right here.
You know, you're a lot better than that other guy that I don't even want to talk about anyway. That other brain damage guy who's just a high school dropout. At least you're a little bit higher in the league.
That brain damage guy that's a high school dropout. I wonder who's Sal talking about?
I don't know. Sal is just so full of resentment and spite and, of course, passive aggression, but that's still anger. But that's anger where that is suppressed by fear.
Yep.
So he's got all these things, but I thought we don't have a spirit of fear, and I thought where there is love, there is no fear. But that might be like a Star Wars theology thing. But
yeah,
but you know, he's one of these guys that really drove home the point, or at least it reinforces the point that, you know, this is why Christianity is not impressive as a religion in terms of what actually happens inside its believers. Christian believers are nice many times, but you know, they're just not any more impressive in what their God supposedly can do in them than any other self-help kind of movement.
Yep. So now he gets into a paper provided to him by Dr. Sandy Pigeon. I think he has a doctorate in theology. He's some kind of a redneck gun-toting.
I think he emphasized he's a former
militia.
Well, he may be in a militia, but I think he's a former Green Beret or something.
He sounds like he's in a militia.
Maybe a SEAL.
He's in a SEAL, Navy SEAL, I think.
Yeah, how are you gonna? Yeah, I mean, he's got a degree and he does apologetics.
Yeah,
big whoop.
And,
that's kind of a dime a dozen.
Yep. And this particular article is in, let's see, Science, The Scientist, and let's see if I can show the whole thing. It's called The Long and Winding Road to Eukaryotic Cells, and it's a pretty good article about archaea and basically bacteria and some things that they found out about Fika and Lika, first eukaryotic common ancestor and last eukaryotic common ancestor. And there's a mat of basically microbial mat. I've heard microbial mats a lot, but I've never actually seen such an impressive picture of one. Look at that. That's
you talking
cool.
about the brown square looking thing?
Yeah, it's a microbial mat.
Makes me think of a brownie.
Anyway, and they're talking about the path to complexity, and they're talking about all the evidence they have that mitochondria came from bacteria, and archaea was the original cell that basically engulfed, so some brand of archaea engulfed a mitochondria or bacteria and chloroplasts, and that led to the eukaryotic cell. And of course, Cell Cordova just hates this fucking article, and he goes on about it right here. Let's see in my notes. Anyway, we'll see what he says.
Now, curious thing in the side chat. Somebody said it's hard to imagine. Hillary's emails just said it's hard to imagine Sal as a USMC officer, but
he was in the Navy, wasn't he?
In some, I think it was in the Air Force, but
okay.
it could have been the Navy. Okay, so that's where that's coming from. Trying to recall what armed service he was in.
Yeah, he always puts that picture of him in the beginning of his thing with.
Yeah.
Let's see where he was here. Where's the cell? There's his daddy. There's Angelo, and there's Sal. Salvador Cordova. Is that like Air Force? I couldn't tell the difference.
I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows? Anyway. Let's see here. 2106.
Let's see. No. Never. No.
This is what he got out of the article.
Okay, so there's a claim about evolution. There's a claim about evolution. I said they make claims that they can't back up. So here is an article from The New Scientist. Let me just make it bigger. And
come on, get on with it, Sal.
Oh boy, I hate all these advertisements. Eukaryotes is likely to advance with baby steps. Part of the nature of these deep evolutionary questions is that we will never know. We'll never have a clear proof of some of the hypotheses we're trying to develop. So there.
Okay. So he makes a big deal of the article saying that we will never know the exact history of the development of some of these lineages, right?
Right.
Yeah, which is, we're never going to know exactly what happened. Like, sit down and think about exactly what you did yesterday, and you may never know exactly what path you took to get to the bathroom. So, but you can make some pretty goddamn good inferences about what path you took and what methodology you followed. And that's what we do in biology. Okay. We are not trying to prove anything because you don't fucking prove shit in science. And we basically admit that we're never going to know all the details. But what we are going to know and what we are going to be able to infer from fucking facts and really good science is what likely happened. That's what we can do. And
exactly. By all probability, or by this fraction of 100%, we figure this happened.
Yeah.
New evidence comes in, changes the probabilities, and something else might be more likely to have happened.
But all this bozo was doing here is putting together a narrative. That's his whole thing, putting together a narrative, and he admits as much that we have to be. He does a little bit later on. We'll get to it. But
Lieger agrees that our understanding of eukaryogenesis, that's the evolution of eukaryotes, is likely to advance with baby steps. Part of the nature of these deep evolutionary questions is that we will never know.
Oh, he's repeating it.
We'll never have a clear proof of some of the hypotheses we're trying to develop. So there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
You
can't back it up. It is a faith statement. I'd shown that.
Okay.
Okay. Now my response, or my parallel statement is, okay, you have a quote unquote statistical miracle, whatever that is. You still don't know what happened. You think God did it. You still don't know. It doesn't make God more certain, and we still have much more evidence in favor of evolution than we do his particular disinformation train, So
the narrative from basically from atheists against Christians was that all you have is faith, and they redefined faith as meaning that you just believe something with no reason to believe it, right? And then the creationists were real butthurt about that, so they started throwing back the word faith on us, using the same fucking definition, but then in between they would insist that no, faith is belief with good reason, trust, pistos, or whatever the hell it is, trust, right? So they are basically conflating the meaning of faith and throwing it back at atheists. But what faith actually means is intuition. Like when you reach for something, you do so with good faith that you're going to be able to extend your hand and grasp the thing you're reaching for. And so it's faith with good, it's faith by inference. Faith is how your brain works, and we all need to admit it. We all have faith that when we stand up, the floor is going to push back on our feet and lift us up, right? We all use faith. So fucking what, Sal? So what?
Yeah. Obviously, the kind of faith they're trying to reduce their Christianity to is trivial.
Yeah.
And I don't think people who hold a faith think of their faith as trivial, and they don't use it in a trivial manner. And that's what Sal's disinformation campaign is doing, is trivializing religious faith, which seeks to experience the sacred, either in their, internally in their heart, or by achieving that through visiting a sacred space. I
kind of want to take the word faith back, because, okay, faith means belief in things unseen. If I were to stand up right now, I don't look at the floor before I stand up. So I don't see the floor, but I have faith that it's going to push back on me and allow me to lift my body up from the ground, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But now, when it comes to believing in the divine creator, okay, that there is some kind of a supernatural fucking Santa Claus type thing that created the universe, what reason do we have to believe in that? Have we ever seen that happen? No. Do we have any fucking evidence of that happening? Do we have any evidence of this God thing doing anything ever? None of us do. But we have evidence that the floor will push back on us and allow us to lift ourselves up. So having faith in the floor, being solid, and gravity and all that stuff is perfectly sane and that's rational. And having faith in evolution, because we have detailed every single step that is necessary for a species to evolve and differentiate, that is a different matter. We have good reason to believe that the floor is going to lift us and that evolution works. And we have that based on fucking facts that we've revisited over and over and over again. So if you want to call that faith, fine. Call standing up faith. I have a lot of faith. I have faith in you, Loki. Loki's right here bothering me. Anyway. Okay. Fucking faith.
Book by Ruse, Darwinism as Religion. That wasn't me.
Oh, Michael Ruse again.
So,
blah, 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 blah.
But it doesn't stop there. There are so many questions that's just accepted by faith. All right. And I'm going to say, we can make assumptions about, say, the law of physics extending to deep time. And that's a small faith statement. It's reasonable because we have
yeah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah.
Blah, blah. Yeah, lots of blah, blah there. Yep. Yeah. I mean, there's so many things that you could say we do on faith. It's just like, come on. And there's so many things you could call a religion, right? You could call my studying molecular biology every morning, 7 days a week, a religion. I mean, I think some of my family members have accused me of that. They basically, oh, that's just a religion. It's like, yeah. Because I do it every day. I practice it every day, right? So it's like a religion. So we could call things faith and religion, but this means nothing. This says nothing about the state of evolutionary biology, you fucking idiot. He is a fucking idiot.
So Ra was saying I was not a smart guy. Oh, well, I mean, okay, let's say hypothetically I'm not a smart guy.
Yeah, let's say that. So this is the meat of the whole thing. Aaron Ra put in one of those emails, "You're not a smart guy." And it was in response to something where Sal completely misunderstood something that Aaron Ra said.
So that doesn't bother me.
No, it didn't bother you.
No, you don't bother me. I got all the facts on my side.
I've done 3 2.5-hour videos on the email, right? It doesn't bother me.
I think Aaron Ra is kicked back in a hammock inside Sal's head, drinking his dark beer and and enjoying the scenery.
Yep.
Because there's so much wide open space in there.
Well, to be
Okay,
fair,
that was mean again. I'm sorry, guys.
stop fucking apologizing. I'm going to boot you.
Okay, yeah, I'll get booted out for being too regretful.
Yeah, but you got the StreamYard key, so you'd just come right back, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you?
Well, now the StreamYard key, you get a new one every time, and it comes to you, not me. So no.
Aha. Anyway,
So you're still in control, Speed, because I know that's what it's all about for you, is who's in control.
to be fair, I'm a little obsessed with Cell Cordova. And I'm kind of like his stalker, his online stalker. Online Cell. I'm not going to fly out wherever the fuck you are and try to look you up. In fact, if I saw you, I'd probably throw up.
Well, you know, Sal Cordova, when we're not working on a live stream or something or whatever, and I'm just doing something else, I don't think about him.
Yes.
I just do not think about him outside of any time I feel like being amused, I might think about him. But
Yeah, Command Cyborg Loki used to be the cat of mischief, but then I got Snack, and now Snack.
He's just a youngin.
He's
just
the
a
worst.
young, spry, pre-adolescent kitty cat.
Yes, he's the worst.
Oh, he's the best. That's what makes him the best. See, you tell stories and you laugh more about Snack than you do about Thor or Loki.
Yeah,
you do. You know, you've been known to talk a little more about Loki,
yeah.
but not since Snack came along.
Yep, they're 10 years old. They're boring old cats. They're just not. That's all they're doing these days is running from Snack. Well, Thor beats Snack up a lot. He flips him over and bites him. It's pretty cool. Anyway, let's see. Where am I at here? Did I move forward? I think I maybe.
I think I'm smarter than him. So it doesn't speak.
You think you're smarter than him?
I know that was a mean, arrogant thing to say.
But you don't know
I'm not
more
gonna
than him.
So
Arn has an actual
trying
degree
to
in
contrast.
biology.
That all began when I said, quoting Jerry Coyne, who said, in science's pecking order, evolutionary biology lurks somewhere near the bottom, far closer to phrenology than to physics. Or I could.
That's a fucking lie, because Jerry Coyne was talking about evolutionary psychology in that little essay, and it was 2 pages long. And Dr. Chris Thompson covered that, so he's still sticking with that. He's going to cherry pick that one quote, where Coyne said something that he really shouldn't have said in the way he said it, because he should have known that he was going to get.
Yeah, there's some ongoing conversation that at least Jackson Wheat was trying to have with Jerry Coyne recently based on a tweet or something. I don't know. It's like every once in a while, Jerry Coyne offers a kind of a grouchy, curmudgeon-y kind of comment that people react to.
Yeah, like Dr. Chris Thompson said, he puts his foot in his mouth a lot. Jerry Coyne, Eugene Koonin does it. Lynch does it. They all do it. It's just like those biologists that end up famous in the press end up putting their fucking foot in their mouth over and over again and creating an endless list of pickable quotes for these jerk offs to concentrate on. And we just have to call them out, every single one, and look at the context. Anyway, so here's the what's wrong with evolutionary biology that Cell keeps going on. And this is John J. Welch. Okay.
Real quick, which one is the International Cat of Mystery? That's Benghazi's question.
The International Cat of Mystery. I don't have one of those.
Okay.
I just got 3 old house cats. Yep. 3 old house cats. Oh, let me see here. Okay, Welch, what's wrong with evolutionary biology? We're going to have to take a look, are we? Oh, no. Hopefully this one will show up. Well, no, let's go back and see what Cell says first. Okay.
Did a creationist write that? Okay, in the journal Biology and Philosophy. What's wrong with, I'm just going to read a paragraph or so here. there have been periodic claims that evolutionary biology needs urgent reform. Oh, let me see if I could do this in PDF. We won't have these obnoxious ads. Let me see. Apologies to the viewers here. Dr. Dan, thanks for visiting. What's wrong with evolutionary biology? And, you know, guys, to be fair, I could write this about creationism too. All right. So I mean, if you say, Sal, look at all the problems with creationism, I'd be right there with you. If we,
would you?
Tell you what, if creationism were on the level of Maxwell's equations, we wouldn't be having a debate. Okay. So I'm not going to pretend that creationism doesn't have its problems. That's why I welcome. There have been periodic claims that evolutionary biology needs urgent reform. And this article tries to account for the volume and persistence of this discontent. It is argued that a few inescapable properties of the field make it prone to criticism of predictable kinds, whether or not the criticisms have any merit. For example, the variety of living things and the complexity of evolution make it easy to generate data that seem revolutionary, exceptions to well-established generalizations and neglected factors in evolution, and lead to disappointment with existing explanatory frameworks with their high levels of abstraction and limited predictive power. It is then argued that special discontent stems from the misunderstandings and dislike of well-known but atypical research program, the study of adaptive function in the tradition of behavioral ecology. To achieve its goals, this research needs distinct tools, often including imaginary agency. To achieve its goals, this research needs distinct tools,
imaginary agency,
often including imaginary agency. I gotta love it. To achieve its goals, this
Sal should wear looser underwear when he reads papers and quotes.
Yeah, he's trying too hard.
His voice gets a little high. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Research needs distinct tools, often including imaginary agency and a partial description of the evolutionary process. This invites mistaken charges of narrowness and oversimplification, which come not least from researchers in other fields.
I think Sal's spirit animal is Rick Moranis from Ghostbusters.
He kind of read over that real fast. This invites mistaken charges of narrowness and oversimplification. Okay, this paper is about something, and we'll get
with
to
anxieties about human agency and overall purpose. The article ends by discussing several ways in which calls to reform evolutionary biology actively hinder progress in the field,
okay, actively hinder progress in the field. So this article was written about the problems with continually claiming that there's something wrong with evolutionary biology. And at the very end of this article, let's see where he sums it up. He sums it up in a couple of lines. And as ever in biology, an attempt to explain a pattern is not to deny the, okay, I don't want that one. However, claims that evolutionary biology is misguided or importantly incomplete are not harmless, but actively hinder progress in the field. So what he's claiming is like Michael Lynch and Koonin and all these guys that are putting their foot in their mouth and the third way and the extended evolution and all that bullshit. He's claiming that actually hinders the progress in the field, this bit of infighting, right? Such claims find an eager audience among those who reject the scientific consensus. Sal Cordova and Emery Moyna read this entire paper, and they didn't get that point. All they found is a bunch of cherry-pickable quotes, and they laughed at every one of them. They thought it was so great. And Sal has been touting this paper for a year now. Scientific consensus on other grounds. For example, Fodor and Palmerini present prior objections to their version of natural selection, but also include a fairly typical laundry list to add some empirical heft. So that's what the paper's about. And I read the paper and the whole fucking paper, and the paper does not bear out any of the shit that Sal is claiming it bears out. He's not saying there's a problem with evolutionary biology. He's saying that there's a problem with having a problem with evolutionary biology. And apparently that went right over Sal's head. Because he's a what? Oh, he's an idiot.
He's a motivated
reader. A motivated idiot. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, oh, where the fuck are we at here?
To answer your question, Eric 311, in this case, they did read the content of the paper.
Yeah, the
I
whole
don't know if
paper.
they read the whole thing via
They
video.
the whole
Yeah.
thing. It took them like three. I think it took them 3 videos to get through the paper, and they were just wetting themselves over all the cherry pickable bullshit in this paper about. And all it was, it's a review of criticism within the field of other parts of the field. It's the old thing where they were turning over something from 50 years ago and 150 years ago. And now we're looking more at neutral evolution. We're looking at horizontal gene transfer. We're looking at all of the new complex mechanisms that we have recently discovered in the last 50 years that basically are refining evolution. And what's happening is refining. And of course, people are going to come out with the third way, like Dennis Noble and his ilk, retired people that did really good work, really brilliant people like Dennis Noble and Shapiro will come out and they write books and they sell books. And basically they're running, they're coming up with a different program called the third way, right? Which is supposed to be in between ID, intelligent design, and evolution. And they're saying that the nature of the universe shows a teleonomy, not teleology, but teleonomy. And they're talking about top-down and bottom-up dynamical systems as being motivators in evolution. And all they're really saying is it's complicated. And they've given it a name. So he'll go on and on about this bullshit.
So it's called It's Complicatedism.
Yeah, it's complicatedism.
This actually, it was a promising paper, but it kind of fell flat on its face because it didn't address some of the things that the third way of evolution is putting forward. So now there is.
Yeah, so it didn't say exactly in the conclusion what Cell wanted it to say, that evolution is wrong, so it fell flat, right? Yeah, it fell pretty flat. Where are we at here? Okay, I got fell flat and crumbled, I tell you.
The edifice of the modern synthesis has crumbled. The edifice of the modern synthesis has crumbled, apparently beyond repair. Another term for the modern synthesis is
Okay, I think that was from, let's see, which paper is that? Let me see here. Oh, let's see. That one is The Origin at 150 by Eugene Koonin. So
is Sal's approach basically trying to say, you see, I was right all along. Look at all these scientists. They're saying the same thing I'm saying when they're actually not saying the same thing he's saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's looking for backing to his disinformation stream where there is none.
He's advancing his rhetoric. He's constantly advancing and refining his rhetoric, whereas real people that really seriously study this subject are rather advancing and refining our understanding of what the complexity of life involves. And granted, we don't have all the answers. We've got about 1% of the answers. And that 1% kicks ass when you look at it. Okay, The Origin of 150, a new evolutionary synthesis in sight. Now, this is from 2009 by Eugene Koonin, and he's talking about the extended synthesis. The edifice of the modern synthesis has crumbled, apparently beyond repair. And that's what Cell got out of the paper.
And by the way, speaking of research and science and everything, one contribution that the cigarette industry made to science is it was because of cigarettes that they actually started doing studies, medical studies with a control group.
Oh.
I just thought you might find that interesting. There's a couple of links in the description, part 1 and part 2, from how cigarettes invented everything from the Behind the Bastards podcast. Very interesting.
Description.
Yeah, I just said that.
Oh. I said it again.
Yeah, you said it again. Yeah, double underline. I think these are two very revealing, very interesting podcasts, and just the idea of reading papers here and mentioning scientists getting to work and everything and on the science and all that just reminded me that yep, the cigarette industry is responsible at least for one good thing, and that's double-blind studies.
Well, it also provided a number of test animals for lung cancer. I mean, we wouldn't have had so many people to understand lung cancer if it hadn't been for cigarettes.
That's true,
and that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing. So I just want to say, I want to make an admission here, or let you know. Yesterday, for about the 5th time in my life, I was diagnosed by a professional as being severely ADHD. And what that means is that I will miss every other sentence that you say, Scott.
Okay, I'll just start repeating myself.
Yeah. If you say it, repeating yourself.
So you've been diagnosed by how many professionals now?
About 5
with ADHD. Shouldn't that get you a little thing to hang on your rearview mirror for a parking spot?
It certainly should.
I think it should, or at least maybe some sort of service animal.
Yeah, I actually took a Tova test, which is where they hook you up with a computer or machine and they test you, and they told me I was something in the high 90th percentile as being a problem. No wonder I had a little problem when I was in 1st grade. Dropped me into a middle of a 1950s fucking northern Minnesota school and expected me to behave.
Yeah. I don't know. I wonder how common an experience it is, and I'd like maybe our side chat people to comment on it. How many times since you've become an adult have you just really asked yourself, why didn't I know that before? How much have you learned about what you didn't know back when it would have been really good to know? Like, I was talking about with my my trumpet playing. I wish I'd known that back when I was a student. I wish I'd done it this way or that way. And you just didn't know what you didn't know.
Yeah. Okay, so this paper, the molecular evolution, came first and culminated on the one hand in the neutral theory, which asserts that the majority of mutations that are fixed during evolution are neutral. And accordingly, the purifying selection is more common than positive selection. So what Sell calls Darwinism from 150 years ago is the idea that every change in a species happened by positive adaptation, that some beneficial mutation happened, and then there was positive selection for that beneficial mutation. And that certainly is a very big element in what happens. But they're saying a bigger element is purifying selection, which means that when there is a mutation that causes the animal to not survive, that gets cut out immediately. And that's a really, really powerful sieve that takes mutations and turns them into something that can survive. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be better adapted or well engineered or even be better at all. It can be a smaller genome. It can be a dumber animal. It can be an animal that quits flying because it's not advantageous in that environment to fly. So, and it's neutral evolution, genetic drift, and purifying selection, which is negative selection. Things that can't survive are cut out immediately. So anyway, and that's the whole point of the modern, the crossover in the last 20 years to modern synthesis and neutral evolution. And that's what this paper is about. However, there are, let's see, Cell goes on, I think, to cover more of this. However, there are also major problems with prokaryotes, which fundamentally differ from eukaryotes in that they do not engage in regular sex, but do exchange genes promiscuously. So species cannot be meaningfully defined. And what he's talking about is in prokaryotes, and even to some extent in eukaryotes, it's very difficult to say that this is a particular species. It gets worse with bacteria and prokaryotes, right? And Cell makes a big deal of, oh, see there, right there, speciation. And it's like, fuck you, Cell. Anyway, let's see. The origin of 150. Okay, so I think I'm right here. I'm
I have
gonna
a quick
I
question.
think sort of the,
go.
Sal makes a big deal out of the fact that some species lose this out on the size of their genome over time. In other words, certain genomes just disappear and you're left with fewer, when evolution, I guess, should leave you with more, so that, if you took a blood test from a, Homo erectus, they should have fewer genes in total than Homo sapiens, or Homo sapiens from 100,000 years ago should have fewer than today, and we should have more. Does anybody think that at all? Are there any papers or scientists, or even like a minority view of respected scientists that actually think that way?
No, Cell later on in this video cites a paper by Lenski, or in one of these videos where they're talking about the basically the genome got smaller and smaller for some strains in the Lenski experiment, and he keeps misrepresenting that. And they were specifically talking about hypermutating strains. Some of Lenski's bacteria ended up with hypermutation, and Lenski's experiments presented the same exact environment over and over again to these bacteria. And what happened is they started dropping genome length. And from that, they concluded devolution. Well, number one, this was a specific strain, a few strains of bacteria in Lenski's experiment, not all of them. And number two, they maintained a constant environment, which is not what we find in the wild. So
Right.
it's a complete misrepresentation, again, of a paper, because he's not smart enough to actually read the entire paper and hear all the words in the paper and put them together in a coherent line of thought. So he does it again.
So he is reading from a legitimate scientist, but the scientist isn't saying what he claims.
He misrepresented the paper.
Yeah.
He goes on and on about, Lenski and devolution and blah, blah, blah. And he does that over and over again. And this guy is a fucking charlatan whose main goal is to put together a rhetoric to make him appear more famous than he actually will ever be. I mean, he's famous because of things like the clone picture, which I put for the thumbnail of this video. That came from CRISPR-Cas9, and I think CRISPR got it from all the forums that Cell had been on in the past, where they called him Slimy Cell.
Yeah, what is somebody out there in our side chat knows the name of that website that featured Sal years ago for being slimy, dishonest, whatever it was. I want to say it has like a green and white color to the page. I don't know. It's somebody knows that. They've given us the link to it a bunch of times, but I can't remember the name. American Loons. Thank you, Jerry Penna.
American
By
Loons.
the way, good to see you. Long time no see, Jerry.
Yeah. Oh, let me put that down. American Loons. I'm going to have to write that in my diary. My searchable diary. What just happened? Something happened.
Okay, and we do have a question that is a very legitimate question that we could and should ponder. Maybe we need to have a debate between somebody who thinks Sal Cordova is just stupid and another one making the claim he's dishonest.
He's not a stupid man. He's a dishonest man. His stupidity is in that he is willfully ignorant. Okay, ignorant. There's nothing wrong with being ignorant, but when you're willfully ignorant, you become stupid. So he's stupid in that respect. But I mean, the guy's, you know, smart enough to go and get a degree in fucking engineering is what he did. But he is being dishonest, both with himself, because he doesn't understand that his true motivation is that he wants to be a famous creationist. He wants to be as famous as Tompkins and Sanford and all those guys, Ken Ham. He wants to get out there, and he's been beaten all his life, basically, and he's been trying all his life to get some sort of notoriety. And he thinks that he's come up with this protein orchard argument, and he just got egg on his face. So anyway, a Tortugan, yes, from James Downard. He's a Tortugan. Refer to James Downard to give you a good definition of that. Let's see, where are we at here? What am I looking at? Looking at the paper. Let's see. So major problems with prokaryotes. Anyway, this paper is well, it's not a paper. It's an article. The summary of the state of affairs, the 150th anniversary of the origin, is somewhat shocking. In the post-genomic era, all major tenets of the modern synthesis are, if not outright overturned, replaced by a new and incomparably more complex vision of the key aspects of evolution. And that's the whole fucking point of the article, right? That no, Darwinism and evolutionism and all that bullshit from the past, it's a lot more complicated and more sophisticated right now. And I can show you a paper on protein orchards that bears that out, how complicated and sophisticated the science has become. And no, we have not slid backwards, and we have not become more confused about evolution. We are far clearer now about it than we ever have been.
There's a link that Vesta provided to that American Loons article. I knew Vesta would come through.
Let's go ahead and put that on here. American Loon. Does it have a picture of him as a clown? Oh no, it has his army picture, right? Here's another slimy, dishonest creationist and liar for Jesus. Cordova's style is well exemplified here, and they have links, and I will put that in the description.
Of course, you might have to test those links to make sure they're still good.
Oh, they say a lot of good things about him. He should be happy that he's famous in American Loons. He is neither the most influential nor the stupidest, but he is probably the most vile and dishonest. He has absolutely no scruples concerning quote mining, twisted misrepresentations, and blatant bald-faced lying, which we have seen this morning, to make a rhetorical point which might at first seem convincing to the ignorant. And here's another example. He teaches at the George. I don't think he ever taught at George Mason. As a firm Bill Dembski, acolyte and disciple, writes on the blog. So this is, I'm not sure when the article from. Of course, Cordova does not even begin to have a background or do biology, but what's more, he doesn't even have the slightest idea about what constitutes scientific inquiry or how to distinguish good arguments from fallacies. And here are some further examples. Diagnosis: lunatic, jerk, liar for Jesus, crackpot, and moron. Impact is probably negligible. Oh, that's a pretty good review. What do you think?
Yeah, to say that you're a well-known creationist is really like scraping the bottom. Nobody outside of your little fundamentalist circle knows or cares who you are if you're a creationist.
Yep. Oh my. Anyway, thank you for that.
By the way, here's a link I'm putting in the side chat for you. That's a link to James Apperson's live stream.
When is that?
He's already started it. He mentions us in the title.
Ooh, how about that? Let's see. How cigarettes? Wait a minute. Where did you put it?
It's in the side chat. Not the private chat, the side chat.
I see how you are. You're fucking fooling me.
Here, I'll put it in the private chat.
No. It's too late. I got it.
Okay. All right. Dang, I done messed up.
Yeah, I'm going to put that in my description as well. So, I don't know. How we doing? How we doing on time?
It's been over an hour. We want to let some people in, see if they want to come in.
Wait a minute. I'm coughing. Sorry.
I'm sorry. It's my fault for talking about that cigarette podcast.
Let me cough up a hair. Hey, let's see. I'm trying to get this fucking link in here. So this is very professional and like Okay. Everything's slow. Anyway, let's see where we're at. We're about halfway through this goddamn thing. It just starts to get good. So let's see. Origin at 150. Did I already play this? No, I haven't gotten this far. So you want to go on a little bit, or should we switch over to James? Are you there, Scott? You're muted.
Oh, and I've just been talking away. I've been just chatting.
Yeah.
Like a gossip circle. Oh, look, we have David in the side chat.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I think if I was placed on American Loon, I would crawl in a hole.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess, for people who put their stuff out there, you have to ask yourself, if some group decides to parody me or to call me names, can I take it? And Sal either doesn't know he's there or he decided he can take it. But anyway, I probably need to leave, get some stuff done.
Well, let's it looks like, well, I did say it was part one.
Yeah, so we can continue this evening if you're feeling up to it. If not, then we can.
I have an AA meeting this evening.
Well, good.
So I'm going to do that instead. So anyway, yeah, we can end this.
Yeah, and I just want to encourage everybody out there, take steps for your personal well-being and your health.
And go to James Apperson's channel, and that will help you be healthy.
Yeah, that will. James is a very inspiring person to listen to.
And he's soothing. Very soothing.
Yeah, very soothing. In fact, if you need to go to sleep and you're having a little trouble, I bet you'll get really relaxed listening to James. Not that he's boring, it's just that he's soothing.
Yep. And I think on the tail of this protein orchard stuff and from the outline that Grinch Lynchpin laid out, I would like to go into a paper on basically how proteins evolve and how much they know about how proteins evolve. And this something that Cell has gone on and on about is multimerization of proteins. That's how two different proteins will stick together and come up with a function. And he misquotes a Michael Lynch paper and misrepresents that. Anyway, Michael Lynch was referred to in this other paper by Pillai, and it's a very good paper that Cell will never read because I don't think there's one cherry pickable quote in there, not one. Yeah. So he would never read that one. So
we do have an update here from Eric. Apparently, James saw that Myth Vision was on and ended the broadcast, not himself, but ended the broadcast. So I guess everybody go to Myth Vision.
Okay.
But he'll probably be back once Myth Vision is over.
Yep. And Scott has a job, and lunch is over, right?
Yeah, lunch is over. I'm gonna have to hurry up and get some stuff done and you know, do the thing. But like I said, we could do it this evening. If you never mind, you already said that you have something going on. But
we'll do it again.
Yeah, it was fun. I like this.
Yep. So goodbye, cruel world.
Bye.